Not. So Patrick, do we, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You
What?
describe it. You describe it. I
What?
do enough talking.
Whatever. What?
I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much, but I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of them just want to like make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like. He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy. And then like other guys would just show up out of nowhere. He's like,
Oh, I
"Oh,
just-
we never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then you just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that
Like,
was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
that was the guy from.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to the American Muscle Series. We're here for Season 4, Round 3, and it's the first of the rounds where we've got two 20-minute races. And more interestingly, we're now on a Wednesday, not on a Tuesday. So that's absolutely incredible. And I sense that producer Adam Thompson is doing a few time warping things, but this is totally live. We've just changed the day of our broadcast to today. It is well, the race is moved over 1 week, and well, alongside me is Dustin Ollis. Hello, Dustin. How are we?
Well, Tom, I'm doing great tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. And well, I'm very impressed at your ability, Dustin, to be in two places at once this evening. On the track, out there doing qualifying right now, and up in the commentary box with us. It's in a marvel, I have to say.
Yeah, it's, this week compared to last week, I mean, you all saw just how loose I had the car. This week, don't have to push that hard. Car just kind of goes where I want it to. So we'll get around the track and we'll see how well we can keep it on.
Absolutely, is well, I finally get pictures up here in the commentary box and can see what's going on. We're on the Indy circuit of Brands Hatch this evening, which is the smaller circuit, of course, not having all that Grand Prix nonsense. Pretty good for these. Pretty good for these Mustangs, as I'm hearing in my ears. We're going to do a lap guide. Dustin, as you are the driver, currently driving right now, you can give us a ride on board with Randall McGrew.
Sync with me here, but we're coming over the hill into the very awkward downhill right-hander of turn 1, where you're going to try to touch the inside curb, mash the throttle, get all the way out to the sand, but do not touch it. You're going to brake hard all the way down into second gear for the right-hander, and then Randall is going to not turn right. See, if it was me, I would have turned right there, but we'll have to find someone else.
So there is now a checkered flag out on the the track. is going. So actually, I think Dustin Arlis, we've decided that qualifying is something that we don't need in the American Muscle Series. So we're going to go straight to the race. And actually, without further ado, got to put my poker face on here because the race is about to get underway. No formation lap then. It is Nelson on pole. Aero Nam in a very lowly third position for his standards. Let's wait and see what he can do down into turn one. Here we've got the grid. Here is the grid. Let's take you through it then. Keith Nelson Jr. starts on pole position. Fabian Zauer is in second. Aero Nam starts his lowest position of the season in third. Scotty Banks is in fourth with Randall McGrew in fifth. Evan Hushak starts sixth with Brian Howard in seventh. Louis Enriquez starts eighth. Anthony Castillo in ninth with Roy Baker, the first of the AMS, in 10th position. It's Edgar Sanchinelli in 11th. Jeffrey Robichaux starts in 12th. I have to say, that flagman is holding that flag rather still and rather impressively. Here's the next page of the grid then. Phil Keck is in 13th position. Eric Ronenberg in 14th. I imagine the blood rushing from that hand. Jay Bast is in 15th. Daniel Ott in 16th. Todd Hansen starts 17th with Dustin Arlis starting at 18th. That's impressive. 19th is Matt Malone. Matthew Thompson starts 20th. Matthew Gazenda in 21st. Mike Thompson 22nd. Stefan Price 23rd. And Chris Schultes in 24th. It's Jeff Andres in 25th with Michael Puchik in 26th. Then 27th is Jesse Hodgson with Mike Nickham alongside him in 28th. And it's David Climate, Dave Blair, Jason Gotter and Roger Clark at 29 through 32. Then it's Charles Hosier, Jeff Besnard, Martin Bork and Jay Little up into 36th position. We've got one more page of results. 45 starters this evening. It's Chuck Labano in 37th, Kenneth Estep in 38th, Nick Batista in 39th with Scott Brooks in 40th. Ryan Bevel is a privateer in 41st with Kenny Meadows in 42nd. And it's Eric Snook and David Moore. I'll drag you in a moment, Dustin, because we're about to get the start of this race underway. That flagman whose hand might just be about to fall off is going to wave the green flag. We're going to get underway then. Keith Nelson on pole position as they roar down into turn one. It's a very fast turn one. This one, it's a good start actually from Scotty Banks. Scotty Banks roaring into turn one. Zauer takes the lead of the race down into turn one. Banks into second position. Nelson falls all the way down into fourth as Randall McGrew gets himself up into into third actually on this occasion. Aero Nam is trying to challenge up around the outside on Randall McGrew, who now is fallen down into fifth position. Here they go side by side still. There's the number one car of Aero Nam. Wide goes Kenneth Nelson. As I'm hearing, we forgot to download the panes. As here goes Aero Nam around the outside, still trying to hold on to Zauer. In fact, this time he's trying to overtake. He's being overtaken by Randall McGrew. I think there's McGrew at 67 on the inside, trying to get through on Aero Nam. This is the first time Aero really has had to race someone so far this season. McGrew to the inside, looks to outbrake him down into turn one. Here goes McGrew down the inside, just about able to get onto that position. Oh no, Aero Nam onto the grass. My word, it's close stuff at the moment. Dustin Arlis.
Yeah, that's going 2 by 2 here on the first few laps. It may not look that difficult, but I can tell you these tires are stone cold, like 70-degree track temperature. And Randall gets tapped by Aero in the middle of the corner, goes spinning off, and he's going to come back and collect part of the field.
And a totally unexpected.
The crew wisely toes out of the middle of the track in a corner that you can barely make when it's clean with these tires. When there's a car in the way, you don't know which way to go. The tires are not going to go anywhere other than straight off into the person you're trying to avoid.
We're going to the replay to watch this again. As we see Randall McGrew crashing off into the distance. Aero Nam taken out as well. That is totally shocking and an unexpected turn of events. Dustin Arlis. And well, now Scotty Banks leads the way down into turn one. This is incredible stuff actually so far in this race. It's unbelievable, Dustin, what live entertainment can bring you.
Yeah, it's completely unexpected. I mean, when you get 45 Mustangs around the short little 1.2 mile track, something's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And can anybody dodge it? It looks like we had a few do it, as we have a big gaggle coming over the hill at turn 2. Phil Keck and Dustin Ollis. Oh, Dustin Ollis gets hit off into the right-hand wall. Nose first. Was unable to save the car before getting into the wall. Pretty bad front-end suspension damage. I can tell you right now that car does not turn right anymore.
And I have to say, I think that's totally avoidable from Dustin Arliss, and I think he was at fault for that accident, and should probably keep his wits about him in the future. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Dustin.
And we could have left a little bit more room, maybe a little bit less aggressive, considering it's only lap 3, but you never know.
Never know. So here we go. Jay Little trying to attack Dave Blair. In fact, no, it's Jason Gotter trying to attack Jay Little down into turn 1. Not able to make a move just yet. Really, to circle this back, your main overtaking opportunity at Brands Hatch is probably down into this hairpin here, as there is the thought from Jay Little. Sending it, or from Gotter, I apologise, sending it down the inside. Not quite able to formulate a move just yet, but after a crazy first 4 laps in this race, only a minute and 55 seconds into it, it's Scotty Banks who leads the way. Zara in second, Aeronom in third. After that accident out of turn 1, I think it was, wasn't it? No, out of turn 3 actually. Here he is, the double champion. Crash with Randall McGrew, and well, Dustin, I'm not too sure he's going to be too happy about that one.
Arrow really trying to run to the front. First time not on pole that I can remember. He's almost always on pole. And it's just a different kind of race, and you get a little tap, a little bit of net code, and it can send your whole day sideways.
Absolutely, and well, his day has been sent sideways. Not sure, well, third position is really a day being sent sideways, but for his standards of wanting to take this sweep throughout the course of the season, quite going to formulate clearly today, unless he can try and get himself back up to the back of this leading train. Here's Daniel Oss. This is the battle for the lead in the amateur category. It's Thompson just behind him, 1.1 seconds between those two cars. Wait and see if there's any developments in that, but right now it looks to be pretty line of stern. 20-minute race, of course. This is a track that lends itself, I think, quite nicely to this shorter 20-minute race format. There's a move from Gotter on Andres. There's Labano making some moves as well. He's getting up the field into 26th position. Jeff Basnard is battling with him. But right now, another thing to note, we've got 5 DNFs from this race so far. In fact, more than 5, actually. We've got 9 DNFs.
Out of 45 starters, down to 35 on track and running, most of which aren't full speed anymore. There's just about maybe 10 Mustangs on this track that are not spinning out and getting hit right now. As you see him sitting on the exit of the corner, very close wreck avoidance there. Got Martin Bork, Jeff Andreas, and I believe that's Jay Little.
As well, as we have a look, it might just be Jay Little. I'm hearing got a slight issue with our live timing monitor. I think it was odd. I'm not too sure we are 4 minutes into this race, but anyway, we'll move on. Here's Scotty Banks in the lead of the race, 1.9 seconds. He's dominating, and I have to say it's a nice little story for Scotty Banks, actually, who hasn't been able to win a race in the 2 seasons, well, season and a half now, that I've been on the American Muscle Series. But nice to see that he's now up in the lead of the race. Aaron Nam is catching Zara into second position, that would be. Then he can chase down Scotty Banks. Now, I don't think we expect Aero to get the win here, but if he could, it would be quite spectacular, wouldn't it?
As you can see on the track map right now, the leaders are 1 corner away from most of the AM field at this point, and that gap is just going to get closer and closer, and there's going to be nowhere to hide. It's kind of like Bristol with about 100 NASCARs on it. You're going to be passing somebody, whether it's for position or just to lap them, every corner for a long time until the end of the race.
Gazenda has gone into 14th position. That's ahead of Thompson, who's now falling behind. Actually, in fact, that's a huge gaggle of cars. It's 4 or 5 almost side by side there. Gazenda at the head of the train. He is in absolute bed. And there's someone off, and it's Matthew Thompson onto the grass. And he's just fallen behind that train. Now 20th position behind Jesse Hodgson, 1.7 seconds ahead of Gotter and Blaze slots in quite nicely, actually. But that's frustrating for him.
And something to note here, this big kind of gaggle, you're looking for 10th place is going to be your invert leader. So the race 2, if you're in 10th place, you get to start on pole. So J Bass is not going to have an easy time keeping that position, because if you're in 9th, it might be worth giving up a couple points and getting a pole position start for race 2.
That's a very good point, actually. If you are in need of a reminder of the reverse grid rules, it is as follows: top 10 invert for race 2, and there's no fast repairs in this one as shape-shifting cars. That's interesting. I didn't know this was a weight-saving feature of all the cars turning into white. That's very interesting, and oh my word, that's quite drastic. That's actually. Well, I've lost pictures. Let's go down to the YouTube chats for a moment. There's profound things happening on this supernatural evening. It's broadcast. Chuckily says, amazingly calm voice considering he was crashing at the time. It is a skill of our very own Dustin Arlen. It's only the best at slow motion broadcasting. As then Chuckily says, it should be boring from here on out. I don't know where you got your fortune telling powers from, but I think this race is actually holding up to be quite an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, no matter where you look in the field, there's little battles here and there, and trying to get 2 Mustangs around this track side by side at any point is not something I would consider fun, but it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. Here's Zauer. This is a battle with Aeronam. Aeronam has actually got past the second place run, the number 5 cut, and he's now up into second and has got 2.4 seconds up to Scotty Banks. Though Scotty Banks is starting to catch a little bit of that lapped amateur traffic. It's a very short circuit, only 7 minutes and 40 seconds into the race so far. So Scotty Banks now having to scythe his way through all of that traffic. Totally informational blue flags as well. Remember that as we go on through this race. There's Labano and Nickham, I think, both coming under fire and out of the lead lap. Here's Daniel Ott, the leader of the amateur category once more. He's catching up to Hansen ever so slightly as the sun starts to set over there in Kent, England. 8 minutes into this race, about halfway through into it. There's a few more moves at the back of the field. Here's Chris Schultes. Can he make a move on anyone? Down into turn 1. It's about a chance around the outside. Just takes a wider line. Might open up a chance for a better exit down into the hairpin, but no, not to be in the end.
That's going around turn 1. You'll see lots of different entries. The one thing is pretty much universal. By the time you get to the compression at the bottom of the hill, you have to be pointed the way you want to go, or these Mustangs will absolutely take you for a ride.
Incredible. The Mustangs, I have to say, a wonderful fit for this circuit as well. Is here it's Chris Schultes trying to make a move on Clymer and Clark. A little bit of a gaggle, about 5 cars here. It's what, 4 cars actually. Maybe turn 1 going to be his best overtaking opportunity. Can Schultes get the run? He's second place in the amateur category. This will give him so many more points and so much more help in the amateur championship. Down into turn 1. Can he squeeze his way through? No. The answer is not. Neither can the guy ahead. In fact, he can. There's Clymer making a move on Roger Clark, and he does make a move. Clymer down the inside into the hairpin now. Tries to hold on to it. Schultes tries to follow him through. Squirms under the brakes. And I think Schultes is just about going to be able to hold on to the position, or gain the position I should say, to the outside. Now he goes. Still Clark is defending this switchback, perhaps with Schultes all the way onto the grass, and Clark just about holds on to 16th position. Clymer to 15th, and this train just keeps going on.
And that's probably a wise place to back out. I wouldn't want to go side by side through there too often, and especially with the very damage as you see him sliding over the hill there. These cars are unpredictable at the best of times, and when you get suspension damage like most of these cars do have right now, it is kind of dangerous to be side by side with somebody that doesn't quite know what their car is going to do.
The one I think we need to keep an eye on throughout the course of this race is Dustin Arlen sitting down in 26th position, 5.2 seconds to the car ahead, trying to find his way through there. And I mean, Dustin, that car does not look nice to drive right now. He must be having a really difficult time.
Yeah, the front end is definitely towed in, so at any moment it will wiggle, and it doesn't quite want to kill me, but it doesn't want to go around the corner any further. And we got the Matt Malone right behind me, trying to push me, even though he's a few laps down. And let's just say it gets a little interesting at a few points because he's been pretty close as we see a car off there.
It's Martin's Bork, I think, who's gone round. And I mean, I don't know how you'd possibly know that it gets interesting later on into the race, unless you've gained some fantastical powers I don't know about. Here's Bork just trying to get back onto the circuit, able to eventually get there in the end. That car looks so damaged, doesn't it? Absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, there's very few cars that haven't seen some front end damage. And as far as knowing what Matt Malone's going to do, let's just say I'm his Twitch mod, and I've only seen probably 1 million hours of him drive race cars. It's not going to be a boring race from here out.
No, can Matt Malone make himself a little bit unpopular in the Dustin Arliss household? Get past and unlap himself, of course. Blue flags once again only being informational in this series and in iRacing as a whole. There's no obligation for him to get out of the way of Dustin Arliss. I imagine it must be pretty frustrating for Dustin Arliss actually to be in that 44 car at the moment, as Matthew Thompson's been overtaken in the meantime for 20th position. That's for 3rd place in the amateur category. As Dave Blair says, Mustang is made of tin, I think. Potentially. Here's Thompson trying to get back at Dave Blair. Down the inside he goes into the hairpin. Might just have the chance to go for a dive bomb. Here he does go for a dive bomb. It's a strong lunge from Matthew Thompson. Down the inside he goes. Forces Dave Blair out wide and now just might have the traction. No, he doesn't. Oh no, there's someone off! At the top of your picture, he's off and into the wall. And it's quite a colossal crash. And it's Chuck Labano. It's a great time to do an ad as well for Chuck Labano and the amateur division. It's now brought to you by the Royal Smitiy Twitch channel. It's generously brought to you by the son of Chuck Labano, who's now into the pits and retired from the race, and his Twitch channel, Royal Smitiy. Go and show him some support at twitch.tv/Royal Smitiy.
And there's something to consider. Once again, this is a double header, so we got another race coming up as soon as we get through the end of this one. Looking at probably about 24-25 laps in a 20-minute race here, running about 50 seconds around this short little just over a mile track.
Obviously run karts around here. The Brands Hatch Indy circuit was, believe it or not, designed for Indy cars, which is shocking to me. Back in the early 2000s, I think it was, though not really my time. That is Evan Huchak trying to attack Luis Enriquez, 4 tenths per second behind. Might just be able to send one up the inside at some point, potentially. All about staying in line, I think, for the majority of this course, and then just picking your opportunity. See if he can catch up through the final corner.
Second place in AM, Chris Schultes, dropping down the leaderboard, went from 2nd in class, now back to 4th in class. Pretty slow going up the hill into turn 2.
He's pretty slow going up the hill. Can he go down the hill with any greater speed? He looks to be okay, maybe crabbing a little bit in that car, though I think most people are struggling with suspension damage at the moment. We saw Dustin Arliss a little bit earlier on having massive suspension damages. Here's Bork. This is for 30th position. Down the inside he goes on Jeff Besnard and is able to get through. No, Jeff Besnard gets through. There we go. I'll get it the right way around at some point. It's a 3-way fight actually, because I think Carl's involved as well. If it's either that or lap traffic, absolute madness. So there's Besnard off of the track onto the grass, and he's just going to hold on to the car just about. That's a huge save from Jeff Besnard.
Yeah, that's a big scare from your 5th and 6th place overall, having to go through there as he slides out in that corner and not knowing where he's going to come back on.
Scotty Banks leading the race, 2.3 seconds from Aero Nam. Difficult to find time on this circuit. Only 5 minutes to go in this race. Scotty Banks might just be able to smell his first victory of the season and of the last 2 seasons as well. Aero Nam won every single regular race of the previous season, every 40-minute race that is, and 60 as well. The only race he dropped was the reverse grid, actually at Watkins Glen, I believe. 15 minutes into the race, then there's someone off of the track, and that's Matt Malone. I think Matt Malone onto the grass and on the right-hand side. He stops the car, driver's right, driver's left even.
Looks like he's made a little bit more left side contact with that barrier coming out of what is turn 3 here. And just decided to call it a day. I mean, he's already a few laps down. Probably not the worst move.
similar accident perhaps to what we saw happen to Dustin Ellis a little bit earlier on?
He got the inside wall with a grazing hit. But as you can see here from our league administrator, if he just used a speed stick, he'd still be in this race with the silky smooth protection.
Yes, well, anyway, as we move swiftly on. Scotty Banks leads the
In
race.
race report, Aero Nam currently reporting that his crew chief thinks he's going to be 1 lap short on fuel right now.
Oh, I'm lost for words, Justin. I really am. I've never lost it on a broadcast before, but this is quickly turning into one.
I mean, there's nothing crazier to see than 45 Mustangs around Brands Hatch Indy. And they're still actually racing for the lead right now. I don't know if we're appreciating this. Second place, not secured by anybody. Scotty Banks starting to get away. But they are surviving all the chaos and putting on a show that only AMS can put on.
Yes, absolutely. And well, if Aaron was to be some, say a lap short on fuel, that would be absolutely disappointing for him. And a man who's so good at fuel saving. Here's Zoya trying to go it down the inside. Perhaps he might have to go to the outside here. Is there some lap traffic in the way? Can he find a way sneaking through into turn one? It might all be in vain if Aaron is indeed going to be a lap short on fuel. The insights you only get in the American Muscle Series. Down the inside goes Zoya, not quite able to get alongside. And, well, now he has to go into the hairpin instead. Here he goes. Dive bomb on Aero Nam down the inside. Nam goes a little bit wide. They're side by side through the entirety of the corner. And now up into the hairpin. Nam with just a slighter, shorter run up into the left-hander, able to hold on to that position. Though he goes a little bit wide. That might allow Zoya to just switch back in for just a moment. Here we switch up to Luis Enriquez, who's trying to go around the outside of some lap traffic once more. He knows he can pick up the piece. Whatever happens here, Zoya around the outside once more. Nam goes round. He's just able to hold on to the car, and that is quite spectacular. I don't think I've ever quite seen Aero Nam have such a bad race in the American Muscle Series. It can't get worse for him, Dustin.
Yeah, so we see the white flag from the flagman. Even though it shows we have about 2 minutes left, they've thrown the white flag, and they are going to get this track cleaned up for race 2, but not before Aero Nam has to face Keith Nelson.
And well, he goes through into the hairpin. Aero Nam trying to get back into the second position, his lowest finishing position of the season so far, of course. Swept the first 2 races, avoided the Grand Slam only through a pit stop. That was literally all that was in it. Here he goes up to the final corner now. The white flag was flying, though I'm not totally confident. There we go. Checker flag does fly. Aero Nam out of the final corner. Can he try and get up into second position? Scotty Banks wins the race. His first win in the American Muscle Series for 2 seasons at least. Here goes Aero Nam crossing the line. 3rd position for him.
As we go back a little bit more, we see Daniel Ott trying to get the AM win from this race. Back in 15th overall, but first in class, and that's what matters here for points. And he comes around the final corner, no real competition, real close to him, sees a car spun out of the final corner, but keeps it safe and gets it home to the checkered flag to take that AM win in race 1.
Well done, Daniel Ott. Very difficult race indeed on the unusual time slot of a Wednesday night, of course, in the American Muscle Series. As we unfortunately can't get up the results for this Heat 1 for no particular reason, and the live timing software is not working. I use the term live very, very accurately in this situation. But there we go. Scotty Banks wins in the pro category, and Daniel Ott wins in the amateur category. The big news, Aero Nam not on pace this evening. Dustin, pretty incredible race, and well, who was your driver of the day?
Well, that's Daniel Ott. Really, kept it composed for an AM that's not been in the league for an awful long time. I mean, kept the car straight, didn't kill anybody, and brought it home for a very good overall finishing position and the AM win. That's just impressive to me that he kept it clean for that long.
And some people didn't quite have such a fine day. Dustin Ellis, he was someone who had an accident early on into this race and never really recovered from that. Do you think he can improve into race 2?
That's he's certainly going to be looking to pick up any spots. He's not going to get the benefit of an invert or anything like that. So he's definitely going to be pushing hard to see if he can get around anybody that didn't qualify as well as he did.
Scotty Banks says there's no way that race 2 lives up to that action. I can't imagine it does. In fact, I think it must be far more in boring than that one. But anyway, 4 minutes to go in the warm-up session, and well, it was a pretty interesting race 1. I do enjoy these 2020 AMS races. There's Michael Buchik with a huge drift on. Not quite going to win Formula Drift into the gravel like that, Michael, but hopefully not going to continue that into the race. And, you know, we mentioned this when we had a 2020 last season, but it's really crucial now for this warm-up session to make sure you've gone and got a drink, make sure everything is sorted, because you've just had 20 minutes. You've got 20 minutes more. You know, it can be quite difficult for these drivers to keep in that frame of mind.
It's definitely not letting your focus slip going into the first few laps here, because now it's going to be colder. You can see the sun has gone further down. We are using the headlights for sure. And track being worse, cold tires, will everybody manage to get it through turn 1? Because it's already slippery enough in the daytime, and now it's just going to be that much worse.
Hey guys, I broke out of the production booth in here. Justin, I want to do a kind of an in-race interview with you real quick, man. How is it trying to commentate and drive at the same time? Is it pretty difficult, or you think you can make this full-time gig?
I mean, I did put it into the wall on like lap 3, so that was less than ideal. And trying to commentate when your steering wheel is turned 50 degrees to the right is not ideal. But I gotta say, they got me a good sounding microphone. You can't even tell I'm in the car right now.
I was going to say, Dusty, because you know, a lot of people when they're in the car, you hear the gear shift paddles and things. You know, what kind of microphone are you running to avoid that?
Well, not to bring any brand bias into this, it is a very expensive headset that I stole from Adam before we got started. He doesn't even know it's gone. It's kind of funny.
Oh, wonderful. Well, your shift paddles must be very, very quiet indeed. I mean, it's also remarkable that you're able to look at the action whilst you're in the car, including looking at the action that's happening behind you. I mean, I couldn't do it, but you clearly can.
Yeah, I had them rip out my dash and just put in a TV monitor, so I don't need to know what RPM I'm at or what speed. I'm just going fast.
I'm hearing Adam. I don't know if this is the issue with Adam. I can never tell whether he's actually being broadcast live or whether I can only hear him, which apparently is just me. Which means my maniacal laughing earlier on, because Adam had lost it laughing, just sounds like I'm laughing to myself, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm hearing there's some speculation that they ripped out my powertrain and put in a Mach-E. I have to say, I would never do something so wrong to a Mustang. I am not Ford.
No, as you know, I'm suspecting big fireworks into turn 1 in this second race, Dustin. You know, do these Mustangs have a great deal of downforce, perhaps, you know, that can keep the car on the floor?
They're held to the track by hopes and dreams, especially for the first about 6 laps, until the tires get up to temperature. They have a rear wing, but it's flat, so I don't know what it's there for. And the front end has a splitter, but it's 1.5 miles off the ground. So there's not really any downforce per se. You just kind of weigh a lot and hope that keeps you on the track.
Yeah, but hopefully we don't see that turning into, you know, that aerodynamic loophole turning into any cars turning upside down in this second race, because that would be poor design.
Enough weight, but if you hit him right, I'm sure somebody could do it, but I hope no one has to do that.
Yes, I hope so too, and I particularly hope people are checking their mirrors. But anyway, go poker face once more and get ready for race 2 here, where I'm not sure whether we'll get you the grid or not. Waiting for confirmation. We'll try is the call from Adam Thompson as everyone grids up onto Brands Hatch as the stunt starts to further divulge down into the Kent sunset. and one of the nicer counties in the UK actually is Kent. Very posh, very proper, and well, I'm hearing that we have in fact got the grid. Here is the grid. This is apparently from race 1, as it is. So no, we won't have you the grid. And well, let's get ready for this second race here in the American Muscle Series, round 3 of the season. 4th race of the season, and it's Nelson on pole, which I'm suddenly not believing for a moment.
Yeah, I do believe it will be Jay Bass, the 10th place finisher from last race, going to get the invert up to first place for race 2.
Here we go. We hope that that gets right as they get off of the grid. But it's Jay Bast on pole position. Keep an eye on him down into turn 1. Make sure that everyone gets through nice and clean. Getting through this first lap clean is absolutely pivotal. Right, let's wait for the lights, which are holding for quite a long time. Man with the flag is stood there, poised, ready to wave them off into the distance. And there he goes, aggressively waving the green flag. We're racing down into turn 1. 45 Mustangs for the second time this evening. And Bast gets an absolutely perfect start out into turn 1. Oh, no, he doesn't. No, he's into the grass. And that is absolutely horrendous. And oh, there's someone else. It's a total carnage down into turn 1. And the people are flying everywhere.
Cars going every direction, coming up the hill, nowhere to go, a full track stoppage. Dustin Ollis squeezes through somehow. But oh my God, we see Edgar Santinelli on his lid. There's still a parking lot in turn 2. Nobody can find a way through. They're starting to trickle out. Police waving them by the accident scene one at a time as Edgar Santinelli finally gets a tow back to the pit lane.
I don't think I've quite seen anything like that in all my time broadcasting live race events. That's incredible.
We see here Luis Enrique got through that without any issues, just about. He saw everybody going off and he just got by them before all the chaos happened, taking a good second lead into turn 2, but Aero Nam is chasing him down in a hurry.
And I'm trying to see, was Dustin Arliss caught up in all of that? Dustin Arliss.
It looks like Dustin Ollis actually made it through until
turn 3. Oh no, there's
3.
someone else. I'm sorry, Dustin. There's someone else into the wall. It's Evan Hubschak. And that is actually quite crucial. There's someone else as well into the wall. This time it's Matthew Kazenda. 2 people who potentially were looking at the championship in this pro category. Definitely Hubschak. He's been up there in the first few races this season. He's off into the gravel.
And it looks like our numbers from this race are piling up even faster than last race, down to 31 runners on track out of 45.
Absolutely frustrating as we get back underway. Scotty Banks, winner of race 1, says the purple lap on the second lap. 2 minutes into this race. Nickum is making up some positions, as is Besnard, as climbers into the pits, presumably for a little bit of damage sustained from, well, the incident down into turn 3, I think it was. Is keeping an eye on, oh no, is that someone off again? Is that Hubschak again? The number 7 car trying to get around. I'm not too sure. It's definitely a green car. Here's Evan Hubschak. David Kleiman, he's into the pits and actually he's retired from the race.
I don't quite know who that was. Lots of Mustangs. When you got 45 of them, there are a lot of green ones, and it's very hard to pick them out sometimes. But it looks like he's got it back going or got to the pits either way off of the grass out of turn 3.
Nelson sets the fastest lap of the race, then on to lap 4 of the 20-minute race. Can he get himself up into the lead of it as blamed Randall for the paint jobs? Well, you know, I think someone in race control has gone a little bit haywire and sending a message onto the screen as there's really wide Leroy Enriquez, no doubt a couple of incident points for that. And I'm sure Randall, you know, must have not put the liveries onto trading paints or something. You know, must have been totally his fault.
You see here we got the pretty good battle for the top 3. Scotty Banks just looking in on this battle, not quite there with it yet. But if they battle at all, he will be there right on top of these three as Keith Nelson sets the fastest lap with a 50.6, only on lap 5 of these tires. And like I said, they don't really get good until lap 7 or 8 for me.
There's now Aero Nom somehow up into second position. Can he at least keep it as a run of winning it every round for, I believe, the last 2 seasons? Apart from the one, of course, we didn't race. That was a different matter. But here he goes down the inside, maybe. No, he's going to stay behind. Really getting into the night now. It's Brands Hatch. I mean, it's 2 a.m. in real time. But anyway, not in game time. Here's Aero Nom then out of the final corner. Puts the power down nice and early. Gets a good toe as well, actually. Might just be able to send one down the inside into turn 1, you know. Aero Nom, there's slow traffic further ahead that they've caught up to. Here's Aero Nom, surely with applaud it to go down the inside. No, has to tuck back in behind and slow through turn 1. Maybe into the hairpin then. The next best overtaking opportunity. It'll have to be a bit of an audacious dive. He's going to pull out late and he's going to go for the dive just about. Able to hold on to second position.
And that's looking back a little bit here. We have a pretty good battle going on for 7th. About 4 cars trying to all gang back up and get up there and get around Scott Brooks, the leading amateur driver at the moment.
We look at Matt Malone all by himself at the moment.
And if nobody noticed it there on that first lap, as he has a huge slide, he actually made it through the main incident on lap 1 by completely stopping at the bottom of the hill. So he has sustained nearly no damage, and he is up, it says 8 spots from where he started.
Aero Nom is into the lead of the race, and he's battling with Nelson. Actually on this opportunity, around the outside he goes. Aero Nom trying to get the lead of the race back, and he's just going to spin himself out onto the grass he goes, and just holds on to the position. Scotty Banks goes through into second position, and this is incredible stuff from Aero Nom, Scotty Banks and Nelson. All 3 of them, as now Banks looks to take the lead of the race away from Keith Nelson Jr. Aero Nom is still battling there, and more importantly, Luis Enriquez is behind, trying to make the most of what he can. There's someone off into the final turn of the circuit, and now Nelson Jr. just holding on to this position. Aero Nom looks to the inside of Scotty Banks on this occasion. I'm not too sure he's going to be able to get through into turn 1 just yet, though. Has to wait. Again, the hairpin being the main overtaking opportunity of this circuit. 6 minutes of the 20 gone in this race. Lap 8 of 250. I don't quite think we're going to get to that 250 mark. But right now, total carnage.
Hello. As we still see a couple big battles going on, Chuck Labano getting by him.
We apologise sincerely for everything that's going on. Oh my word. You know, it's incredible stuff. The wonders of live broadcasting. As it here goes through. Is that Aero Nom trying to get through? The lead train's being broken up a little bit by all of his lap travel. We haven't got a track back onto the screen at the moment. There's a car into the pits. It's 33 plates. It's David Blair. There's off of the track further ahead, further behind. Is that Matt Malone maybe? I want to say. I'm not too sure. It's Gazenda. Someone went flying. I think it might have been Gazenda actually. Maybe not. I honestly don't know. I didn't see anyone.
I do believe.
Down the road. Yes, it was Luis Enriquez.
And that's a very good save there. There is a good hill there that'll save you, but this iRacing grass at night in a heavy Mustang, it's very unpredictable, and it was everything he could do probably to get that thing gathered back up, get it back across the AstroTurf onto the racing surface, and to stay in 5th position without hitting anything.
Oh, the YouTube chat's killing me, I'm afraid to say. But anyway, as we move on in this race and try and at least save a little bit of our professionalism throughout, it's Keith Nelson Jr. leading the way. Aero Nom is trying to attack him, but they've got such a train here. It's difficult to see who's who as they're trying to get through. Aero Nom gets through as well, and it must be honestly scary to be one of the lap cars here. You've got no obligation to move over, but honestly, it's scary, scary stuff. Here's Hosier just running it quite fine onto the left-hand side there.
The issue for these
31 runners.
issue for these leaders is some of these cars they're going through are not slow cars. They're ones that just happen to get stuck in the start. Don't really have that much damage, like your pole sitter Jay Bass just ahead of them, running good lap times. So it's not easy.
Is that we're talking about doing another plug, and I believe we're going to do another plug for Chuck Labano and Royal Smitiy. The amateur division is generously brought to you by the son of Chuck Labano and his Twitch channel, Royal Smitiy. You can follow along at twitch.tv/Royal Smitiy. Look at the wonderful clips on the right-hand side of your screen. There we go. Back onto the screen. And, there you go. Round win. Wonderful stuff. Well, his dad not quite winning at this one, but 16th position. He's only in 7th position, is that, in the amateur division? Not too bad at all, Chuck Labano, after getting through the lap one utter bedlam. It's always a positive result. About 10 minutes to go in this race, and it's still nip and tuck at the front of the field. Dustin Aeronam still in 4th position, as someone said, hey, what's Jay doing in the chat? Let's have a look and see what Jay is doing as he goes down into turn 1. The suspense absolutely killing me. I have no idea what could happen here, as the way this race has gone. It honestly could be anything. He could fly to the moon in a moment, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Here he goes, maybe going for a dive bomb. No, all looks okay. Maybe he just wanted to check in on Jay, Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, 2nd place in class, not that far off the leader. I mean, he's looking right at his class leader there, following Matt Malone, too. Not a bad performance at all.
Not a bad performance at all. And I'm just going to be honest with the viewers in case the illusion is slightly broken. I don't actually know what happens here, whereas Dustin does. And it's... I don't know whether when we're cutting to people, whether it's foreshadowing something, whether it is just actually a cool camera shot. So, you know, anyway, no, I'm talking nonsense. This is live broadcasting as Jay Little's in 10th position and 6/10 of a second behind Brooks, looking for the amateur class victory.
I'm hearing there may have been some extracurricular activities here from our league owner, Randall McGrew.
I didn't know you could do this to tapes. This is incredible. Oh my word. Right, let's have a look at what happened. Randall McGrew, I believe, on the inside. Chuck Labano on the outside. What shenanigans does Randall get up to? Oh, he spins and... Well, he's, dare I say it, got a little bit of form, Randall McGrew, over the last 2 rounds. And case in point, right there, 10 minutes of 20 gone. I don't know whether we're going back to live or whether we have just in fact gone back 2 minutes.
See, this is live. Either. We have just rewound time just to make sure nobody missed the important events of this race. We actually managed to stop time and rewind it just a little bit there. So we're back with the race leaders.
That old Superman film where he flies around the world really quickly to rewind time. I'm not sure how scientifically accurate that is, but anyway, there's the lead battle rages on. 7/10 of a second now between Nelson and Aeronam as we get into the second half of this race. Is he going to be able to find anything, Aeronam? Here he has done so much throughout the course of the many seasons now, 4 seasons of AMS, 3-time, I believe, champion of this particular series. And I don't know about the 4th season when he raced in that season 1. This is the first time really for a long time he's been properly tested.
As we see, lap 14 is about a turning point for when I was in the car. Now that I've gotten out, I can say this. There's tires, they're pushing them, and you can see at the top of the hill, I believe that was Roger Clark getting it just a little bit wrong, or Roger Clark was affected by whoever was getting it wrong. I don't believe that was him. It is very easy to do as these rear tires wear out and you're pushing the fronts and they're sliding off these weird off-camber corners. It does not get any better from this point on out.
this race has it all, and has it all. As Jay Bast is in 23rd position, trying to attack Jesse Hodson, who in turn is trying to attack Price, who in turn is trying to attack Gotter, who's attacking Buchik. It's a huge train, and well, they're not quite able to get around each other just yet. Here's Brandon Carl into the pits, passes the Porsche safety car, and I think just a regular service. You're not supposed to pit in these 20-minute races, but obviously had some damage that he needed to get repaired. That gap, by the way, at the front of the field, 0.4 of a second. It's slowly going down, but the traffic, as you look now, there isn't a clear pocket of traffic virtually on the track. It's quite incredible, actually, that these guys are just going to have to use the old endurance rule of traffic given and taken away.
And that's, like I said earlier, this is not slow traffic they're catching. This is people that were sitting on pole or sitting, and we see, a huge wreck.
Banks, I think it's that. No, it's Jason Gotter, and he's round, and I think he's blown his engine as well.
Yeah, that Mustang does not look like it is going to go anywhere further under its own power as he manages to tow it off the track before any other damage is caused.
That was almost a repeat of lap 1, turn 2. That was quite dramatic, as here is Keith Nelson Jr. holding onto the pressure quite beautifully. 7 minutes to go in this 20-minute race. We're 16 laps into it already, and he's just able to hold on to this this first position. It's, again, not easy with Aero not breathing down your neck, I'd suppose. Aero might just have an opportunity here, as a little bit of lap traffic goes wide, might just hold up Nelson a little bit. There's another car into the pits. I couldn't quite see who that was. It might be Puchik. It is Puchik, actually. Here's Aero Nam trying to get to the inside of the lap traffic. Won't actually be able to do so, and in fact, that's quite important for Keith Nelson, who now has got a car in between himself and Aero Nam. Nam will get to the inside, I'm sure. Scotty Banks is starting to pressure him as well. Looks to follow through. Aero Nam does follow him through as well. It's getting quite tasty at the front of the field.
They're not giving an inch, but they're taking the whole foot. Every time they get a chance, they're going to take anything they can get.
Scott
We're looking
Brooks
at
now looking to defend against Little. Jay Little so desperately wanting this win in the amateur category, no doubt. We've got about 5 minutes to go, so not a great deal of time. There's plenty of laps actually around Brands Hatch Indy, and we'll wait and see if anything gonna happen. Pro leaders might just get tasty towards the end of this race though. What do you think, Dustin?
I mean, they've kept it this close. The tires are getting a little bit worse, but they're getting lighter on fuel. They're just going to get a little faster, and if they can avoid wearing the tires down too much, I think we're going to get some nice side-by-side action to round us out, hopefully.
Here's Jay Little on board with Jay Little, looking for Scotty Brooks down into turn 1, on board with the Mustang there, 197. Not able to really get alongside. You want to be alongside down in here under the Carlu Bridge. I'm not sure that's the official name, has to be said, but it is here. Jay Little not quite able to find a way around just yet. I have to say, for all its merits in terms of carnage driving track, I'm not too impressed by the overtaking opportunities in these Mustangs in the Indy circuit.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that it was made for some very high downforce cars, as we see Royal Smitiy hitting some more quick scopes. And not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything, but those quick scopes are so good. What if he was the one that took out Jay Bass's tire at the start of the race?
They could have him. They could have him stationed just outside of one of the corners here. Maybe that's an incredible quick scope. I still hedge my bets at beating him at Call of Duty, of course. But anyway, it's beside the point. Do go follow, by the way, twitch.tv/Royal Smitiy. I don't think we've mentioned it this stream before. As Aero Nam here is in the lead of the race. We missed this actually. He got around Keith Nelson, and well, it's back to regular programming in the American Muscle Series. Aero Nam in the lead of the race. Here's Scotty Banks. Maybe a chance to go down the inside. I'm not too sure. Now, I would like to get confirmation of my year here actually, because I'm not too sure how long we have actually got left in this race. Whether it is indeed the 3 minutes, or whether it's like last race where we had the white flag come out about 18 minutes in. 3 laps to go. Incredible stuff. Anyway, let's move on. 3 laps to go, I'm hearing, as we cross the line. Aeronom, 3 laps to hold on to this first position. It's a position he's held on to so much in the course of the AMS Championship as we race under the lights, headlights ablaze at Brands Hatch. Not too long to go now. Scotty Banks says it's over. Well, yes, definitely if you're texting and driving, Scotty. He's Scott Brooks is laughing in my ear. Says it all. Trying to hold on to his 9th position. Eric Ronenberg is just behind. Might be able to send one down the inside into turn 1. This is not for the lead of any class. Scotty Brooks is in the lead of the amateur division. Here around the outside, there's a huge move from Eric Ronenberg. Brooks on the inside, just about going to hold on to the position, but Ronenberg keeps himself alongside, maybe around the outside into the hairpin now, as this is important because Jay Little's just lost a position to Howard. He's down into 12th position. 2 cars in between the top 2 in the amateur category, as here is Jay Little now into 13th, goes down the inside of Besnard. This is for 2nd position in the amateur category. Besnard goes wide and onto the grass just about. You can hold on to the grip there without any incident points. They're still side by side though. Who's going to give way? The 197 on the outside, just about able to hold on to the position. I think here he goes. No, he's contact and they've gone through each other and off the circuit. Little into the wall. And it's a huge, huge hit as well.
And that one's definitely going to have bent the steering of Jay Little. So if he can get around and finish this race, that's going to be a big deal. Especially with this few cars still running. Any positions you can keep are plenty of points for you.
Here's Little trying to get the car back going for the last couple of laps of this race. By my reckoning, 2 laps to go as we cross the line. It might just be 1 more actually, as depending on where the leaders are. They've just crossed the line, haven't they? Here they are. Aeronom. 4/10 of a second between him and Nelson. About, yes, 2 laps to go, I think. I think 2 laps to go here. We'll get to 25 laps. 24 laps even. This is the 23rd, so it will be lap 24 that we finish on. You just sense maybe there's something brewing here, Dustin.
Yeah, lap traffic trying to get out of the way. You see Chuck running off the track to get out of the way. He sees those headlights coming fast, and he doesn't want any part of it. And I can't blame him anymore. Arrow is on a mission to try to get away, but lap traffic is keeping him attached.
Here's Nelson. Last opportunity then to get round Aeronom as Nick, his first win of the season, potentially his only win of the season. He's down the inside. They're 1/10 of a second. They're separated down into turn 1. It's such a fast corner. Nelson down the inside. Banks looks to follow him through and he makes contact. And Norm's round. And that might just allow Scotty Banks through. It won't. Nelson goes through. Scotty Banks in 2nd position. He's going to go through. Nelson leads the race. And Aeronom gets turned round on the final lap.
It looks like Aeronom has towed that vehicle. He will not continue for the final lap. He is done.
And for the first time in a very long time, Aeronom is not going to stand on the podium stand on the top of the podium in a round of the American Muscle Series. Here's Keith Nelson, though, slightly controversially rounding the final corner. He is going to pick up a very hard-fought and potentially a very hard-earned victory in the American Muscle Series. Keith Nelson Jr. wins in Brands Hatch in race 2. Here's Brooks. He's going to win potentially in race 2 of Brands Hatch in the amateur division. That's a good result for him, that's for certain. Thompson is behind him, but 3 seconds behind. It looks like he's going to pick up this amateur class victory, rounding the final corner now. As if you are up for an interview, anyone who is not driving right now, of course, please feel free to jump into the Discord call. Here is Brooks, Scotty Brooks, through into the final straight that isn't actually straight at Brands Hatch. Wins in the amateur division as well. Wonderful stuff from him. It's Banks and Hansen round out the podium in the pro category. Thompson and Ott round out the podium in the AM category. And, well, that was an incredible race. Live sport is unbelievable, Dustin.
Yeah, that's there's very few series that can come here with this many cars and put on a show. I mean, it's going to be entertaining to the WWE fans always, but they managed to put on a good hard-fought race. I took it down to the last lap, and you really couldn't tell what was going to happen at any point during that race.
Going to track Scotty Banks into the Discord call for a quick interview before Randall McGrew. Hello, Scotty. Well raced tonight. That
Oh.
was an incredible race. And I mean, you got out the car quite quickly.
Yeah, boy, how about that race that we just finished, huh?
It's
So-
incredible.
That was a good one.
And Scotty, your first win that I've managed to commentate on you in the American Muscle Series. I don't know how many before there have been, but it must feel good to be back to winning race at least.
This is my fourth, but it's the other three were either because the Olton Park incident when everyone died and I somehow made it through, and then 2 other times where Arrow either didn't race or started from the pits. So this is the first time I've actually won a race where he is finishing. So that one feels pretty good.
Absolutely. In race 2 there, you were so close to getting it on the final lap, but just not to be. You must have felt that you had a little bit of luck, but anyway, taking out Aaron Arm, and you just got caught up in that incident almost.
Yeah, I was hoping something was going to happen. I was kind of okay with either second or third right there just for the points. But when they made contact and I had Jay and Chuck behind me, I wasn't sure if I needed to go fast or go left, go right, slam the brakes, and nothing was going to be right. So I tried to just ease off of everything and not overthink it. And I'm pretty sure Chuck ran into me and got a black flag or something. And I don't know what happened there, but we made it. I'll take the second and the win, and solid day. Wasn't expecting much from this because I'm usually not great in the 20-minute races, but I'm happy with it.
And well, anyone want to shout out after a strong performance tonight?
Oh, definitely Randall for picking this track. I enjoyed the chaos with the 45 cars. I know I wasn't in the middle of it for most of the race, but I always like some good fat cars on a tiny track, so that was fun.
And well, thank you very much for joining us, Scotty. And we'll speak to you very soon, hopefully in a week's time. Just under a week's time, actually, now.
Yeah.
Potentially. I don't know if it's been postponed yet, but anyway. Thank you, Scotty.
Thank you.
As now we'll drag Randall McGrew into the main booth. Randall! I mean, it was an interesting race tonight.
Yeah, I just wish I would have gotten to take part in it a little bit more. But yeah, it was something. I wonder who made this schedule because 45 cars on the kidney bean is a little tough.
Well, we were saying on the broadcast that live action is really quite entertaining, and well, your series always seems to deliver. What is the secret?
I guess it's poor track selection. This season has been amazing. We had 42 cars, 43 cars for the first 2 races, and I expected a pretty big fall off coming into round 3, and quite the opposite happened. We had 45. I was planning the schedule to have about 30 per race. And so, yeah, we probably should have been on the GP layout. Yeah. And as we're seeing in chat now, can't wait for the rain. It's only going to make it even better. So, yeah, we have nowhere to go but up from here.
And well, anyone you want to shout out on the broadcast after tonight's action?
So the Pro Division, we do have a sponsor for the Pro Division. You may have seen it on the paint once Adam fixed his issues. Totally Randall's fault that. So the Pro class is now brought to you by Gunfire Games, developer of the newly announced video game Remnant 2. If you didn't play Remnant from the Ashes, you missed out on one heck of a good co-op game and some really cool PvP mechanics. So for more information on Remnant 2, check out www.remnantgame.com. They're our new sponsor for the Gunfire Games Pro Division.
Well, thank you very much, Randall, for joining us, and hopefully we'll speak to you in 2 weeks' time at Inter Argos.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully I can finish a race one of these days. That would be nice, huh?
Well, you still have your XTC win to fall back on, so true excellence.
I'll go polish that trophy tonight.
Yes, form is temporary, Randall. Class is permanent.
Thanks, guys.
There is Randall McGrew, and next we're going to drag in Scott Brooks. Scotty, tough out there today. And, well, you were able to pick up the win. That must be really happy.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I guess you could probably call me the first survivor of the AM class as opposed to the winner.
Well, it was certainly a little bit of carnage into turn one on race two. How did you manage to survive all that?
Well, some luck, but also I kind of saw it happening and anticipated a bit that, with the invert, people were going to want to get to the front pretty fast. So I was just thinking I'll lay back a bit and actually had to come to a complete stop at one point, but luckily didn't get any damage. And so I was pretty much ninth or 10th place for, 90% of the race. And I just really had to fight off Jay Little. He was quite a challenge. I thought he might get by me, but then I saw in the replay just now how he had his own incident and kind of took the pressure off me there in the end.
And well, I'll go over to Dustin. You got any questions for us, Scotty?
Scotty, I know what it was like to go through turn two, but how quickly were you able to get through there? Were you in the parking lot? Did you have the car in neutral, like firing up the grill yet? Or were you able to
Pretty
sail
much.
through before all the carnage?
No, I was behind the carnage, but again, I left a bit of a gap because I kind of saw how the stack up coming and all the stuff happening, and didn't have to come to a full stop and just kind of sit there for a second. And luckily, nobody plowed in behind me. So, congratulations to everybody, keeping their heads up and being ready for that.
I remember it being pretty vocal on the voice chat going in there. Even though it just happened a few moments ago, it feels like so long ago that I was hearing, stop, stop, stop. So
Yeah, I kept hearing the
however-
phrase "check up, check up, check up," and I'm like, please, everybody, hit the brake, please, and it worked out.
I'm glad to see you made it through there.
Thanks. I think it's my first win in the series, so I'm quite happy with that, even though there's a bit of luck in it.
Yeah, it was a very good job. Like you said, first survivor. That's all you got to do sometimes.
For sure.
And is there anybody you'd like to thank before we let you out of here?
Well, I guess just thank Randall for putting on a great series for us and having a place to race. I mean, I've been with the series since the first season, so I've seen kind of how it's changed and how the competition level has gone from, basic to expert in just a few seasons.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody. I mean, everybody's getting faster. Everybody's getting better at this, and glad to see you at the front.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you, Scotty.
Thanks, Tom.
And that was Scott Brooks, the winner of race one of the races in the amateur division. Let's go over to the upcoming broadcasts. And oh no, I apologise. Before that, we've got to mention the wonderful trophies that provided the high quality, actually 3D printed trophies that's been kindly provided by the Simpit. It's a website, a video show, and a community built for sim racers to find information about our hobby. The ultimate purpose of the Simpit is to make sim racers faster and more informed. You can search for the Simpit on YouTube and check out their website at thesimpit.com. Also, you can buy some AMS merch. You go over to etsy.com/shop/dnutstuff and you can get your own AMS travel mug or slate coaster along with other awesome sim racing mods and accessories over on that Etsy shop. And I do say it looks quite wonderful indeed. Anyway, let's go over to the upcoming broadcast and take ourselves away from Kent for a moment as we see Spec 5 on Thursday, February the 9th at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Mazda MX-5 action returns to Canadian Tire Mosport. That is in the Spec 5 World Tour. Then, of course, on Sunday we go over to some Cross Series League Racing. XLSR, Radical SR8 at Monza combined without the chicanes. They've been racing a lot at Monza over the last couple of weeks, and it's been very entertaining stuff to watch, I have to say. They're not next week, as it is Valentine's Day, and, well, a few people have plans. We're not racing at Snetterton. Instead, we'll be back for AMS in 2 weeks' time at Interlagos. And anyway, Dustin, I'll ask you now for your closing thoughts for this wonderful live broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can really ask for more out of a double header. The double headers are always insane, and it's an insane track with an insane number of cars. I think all things considered, it was handled really well by everybody except for me on track, and it was a pretty good race.
Thank you very much for joining me, Dustin. Thank you very much to Adam, who was on the cameras this evening. We'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you all later. Good night.
Not. So Patrick, do we describe this for everybody, Rob?
What?
You describe it. You describe it. I
What?
do enough talking.
Whatever. What? I think any car's dead in iRacing. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's definitely. I agree. It's not going to survive much, but like, I still think we'll find opportunities to race it, just not as fruitful as before. Some of your like some of them just want to like make. What's the thing? Like that guy wanted to make like dolls out of Tyler's hair, but then there's just other guys who are just like.
He did.
He did. He would say weird things to Tyler, man. Like he was a strange guy. And then like other guys would just show up and nowhere. He's like,
Oh, I
"Oh,
just need
we
to-
never met you? Sure, come race this 24 with us." And then you just jump in the car and wreck us out in a lap and be like, "Okay, never see you again."
Yeah, that
Like,
was
okay. Well, better luck next year, I guess.
that was the guy from.